So I'd like to ask you a question now. What are some of the experiences you have every day of grace, that you can have of grace? And what form do these moments of grace take place? You see, because if once we start recognizing them, that will bring us more and more how simple it is to be egoless. So, who would like to share moments of grace?
I'll share something that happened last night.
Okay. If, can I help you with it?
There's it's such a deep fear of being exposed, and so every time I go, it's so strong.
And what happened last night concerning that?
Same thing.
Okay.
So I was at, I went to a 5 Rhythms dance
Uh-huh.
class. And there was because of this fear of being exposed, I always tend to shy away from being in the center.
Yeah.
And then there was something else that was behind, like coming from my heart, that was saying, go to the front of the room. And that was stronger for, that was stronger for once. And so I went and I followed that, and then I had a private session with Burt a few days ago, and what was happening in the session, when I had that visual of somebody yelling at me, there was somebody yelling at me in it, and when I went up to the front of the room last night, it was a visual of everybody yelling at me, and then there was something inside of me that was coming from somewhere, like our true nature, our source, and looking at every single person in the room, and saying, I love you with all of my heart. It was going from...
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. Yeah.
And then every single person became these, like light beams.
Uh-huh.
And it was like everything dropped.
Yeah. When we had this session, you were wonderful. Totally trusting, totally open. And you've experienced, and this made it more possible.
Yeah.
Because you were willing to open.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels like everything inside is grace here.
Yes.
And then when it comes to
Yes.
expressing it outwards,
Mm-hmm.
if there's some kind of like separation happening still.
That's right. Grace is always present. Can somebody else say how grace happens very, very often?
Well, I took walking along the river every day a while ago, and I felt that I started to really, or could call it grace, or I just really appreciated silence, and just the beauty of the scenery, I guess. was always kind of a grace, and
That's right.
and it occurred to me, it seemed to me that it was just coming without, without me trying, just from maybe reading.
It's a recognition, isn't it?
The recognition.
Yeah, you were recognizing this beauty that's around you.
Yeah.
It's there. Your heart is open.
Recognizing beauty and
Yeah,
recognizing silence.
recognizing silence.
It seemed as though it was,
Mm-hmm.
well, the grace just coming naturally, or
Yeah,
from reading about, reading Advaita and going to Satsang sometimes.
yeah, yeah. It's spontaneously arises. You see, when you have, you're in a state, for example, at the moment where you have dealt within, you've gone deep within, you've had moments of opening, then it can happen at any time. But another time that happens often and we don't mention it? When you're laughing from the heart. When you laugh heartily, that's grace. Why? Because there's no ego. And we sometimes we take that for granted, but at the moment of laughter, total laughter, there is no ego at all. Okay, I'd like to ask you, we go into some questions here, okay? So what is the secret of grace? Now, this secret, if you can fully understand it, you are opening your heart to grace. So what is the secret of grace? Just say anything.
Grace is. You said before the now.
Mm-hmm.
Grace is the now. That is, no matter what
Okay.
the person
Okay,
is.
but let's make it into a more understandable way, like in a statement. So the secret of grace, that we can actually feel, we can see it more. But it is true, grace is, yeah.
Grace is unsolicited.
Okay, but it's not its secret, really. Yeah.
Or is it the secret?
So what is the secret of grace?
Well, when the mind is empty and joy comes, to me that's the secret.
Okay, and this is good. When the mind is empty, grace comes naturally. You
For
see?
the awareness of grace.
Yeah. But that's not the secret. The secret is very, very simple, and we overlook it. To give is to receive. The secret of grace is knowing beyond a doubt that it is through giving that we receive. In the world, the mind always thinks and believes that I have to have. You see? I want, I need love, I want love. I want to be happy. You see? This is what the ego does. In truth, if you want to have happiness, what do? Give it away and make somebody happy. You see? What you give, you truly receive. You cannot receive until you are willing to give. That is the secret of grace, and that is something that is hardly ever understood. And the ego doesn't know and have anything to do with it, because it wants everything for itself. You see? Suppose you want love. Everybody wants love. But how many people are lonely? How many people suffer needing love? Why? Because they don't know this one law of grace. If you want to be loved, give love. And you will have it in abundance, to the extent that you're willing to give it. To give it away. And that's what it means to give away. You see? Now some people say many times, but I cannot give something I don't have. Talking about love or happiness. I'm not happy, how can I give happiness? I don't love myself, how can I give love? You see, this self-deprecation, it is because we do not understand that the state of grace is your natural state. You are grace itself. This moment is grace. The I am is grace.